This time of year, families get together. Often adult children come in to see mom and dad for the holidays, and you begin to notice some changes. And if that change for you is going to look like moving into a senior living community, Carol Fincher is here. She says, come on over to Redstone Estates. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Julie. Yeah, at this time of year, you know, a lot of times families they've been there for Thanksgiving. Maybe haven't, particularly if they live out of town, probably hadn't seen mom or dad in a number of months, and then the same kind of repeat at Christmas. So this is really a time that people start to think about moving. And a lot of people say, oh, nobody would move at Christmas or the holidays. Well, there's kind of two lines of thought to that. Way back in my beginning with senior living, I probably thought that too. But what happens is usually one of two things. Either around Thanksgiving or so, if they notice, you know, that mom or dad probably need some socialization, some better nutrition, some activities and things to do, they'll start thinking about, okay, let's go ahead and see if we can get them settled in their new home before Christmas. So there's no, you know, there's a couple of weeks to kind of settle in and get used to the new environment. And then there are also those at that particular time that say, let's let mom have one more Christmas in the family home, and then we'll move after the first of the year. So we need to go ahead and start thinking about our arrangements now. And then there's that other group that after, you know, they notice it at Christmas, and that week, like between Christmas and New Year's, like nobody's going to say anything because they don't want to be disruptive, you know, in the holiday. But after that, you know, I'm used to getting a lot of calls the first couple of weeks in January, because once January 1st comes, they're like, okay, now it's time to move forward and you know, put our plans in place.
So I think, you know, we're sitting here having this conversation about what the adult children are seeing. You don't want to force somebody into making a decision, though, not at all. So I think we should talk a little bit too about your concern personally with wanting the residents who are there to have this be their choice and their wish.
Yes, exactly. It's kind of like, you know, there's almost that little piece of stubborn nature in all of us. If you tell me you need to do this now, then first thing that's happened, I'm going to be like, well, wait a minute. You know, I believe I'm going to make my own mind up. So it is kind of like that. Normally the adult children come first and get all the facts and, you know, find that they're happy with that. They kind of do the little presentation to mom or dad. Fortunately, the majority of people who move in made the decision and want to be there. Occasionally, I do see a situation where there's a little bit of friction. Normally, within the first, like after the first couple of weeks, the resident is like, I'm so glad, I don't know why I didn't do this sooner. But it is important for them to be part of the process, because it's like, the more input they have, the more that they're going to feel a part of that. And I've always said there's about 3 different phases in doing that. First off, people have to decide they're ready. Is it time? You know, will it be time maybe in the spring if I start thinking about it now? So they have to decide they're ready. And then the other 2 sometimes are interchangeable. They also have to decide when and where. Sometimes they say, if it's going to be 3 or 4 months out, okay, I am going to do it in the spring, and now I will start looking and I will decide where I'm going to go in the spring. Or it can flip backwards, where they say, they start visiting and say, okay, I love it at Redstone, you know, it's bright, cheery, everybody's happy. And so I'm going to choose Redstone, but it's going to be 6 months until I go. Because there's all kind of timelines, you know, from a family coming in saying mom's getting out of rehab this week. She had her hip replacement. They say she can't go home alone.
Right.
We gotta have a place for her now.
Well, let's talk about that though, because living at Redstone is independent living.
Correct.
However, if you do have some needs that arise, you can bring in that assistance. Is that right?
Exactly. If you need, if your doctor orders home health, particularly, if you've had a hospital stay or surgery, you can, that home health comes in. We also have some care partners. We have a nurse practitioner who sees people in the building. You don't even have to leave, which is a great thing in the winter. Who wants to be sick and go out in the freezing cold and wind?
Some little things too that they do there that aren't such little things, but you would overlook it until you know. They have washer and dryer in the apartment,
yes,
which is a very, very big deal.
That is a huge deal. No community laundries. You have your own, so in the privacy of your own home, you can do just like you're used to doing your laundry at home.
The dignity factor is very much a part of the conversation, right? Wanting to maintain that dignity for people.
Yes, exactly.
And y'all go out of your way to make sure that that happens.
Exactly.
They're also, I got to wrap it up, but they're also nestled in when you call to make an appointment to go see. You're nestled into a neighborhood, so you're leaving home, but it feels like home when you get there.
You get a new neighborhood.
Yeah. Definitely make an appointment if at all possible, right?
Yes, particularly this time of year when it gets busy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Redstone Estates, they're on Palms Court in Chattanooga, redstoneestates.org, 541-9300. You're welcome to pop in, but you'll get that one-on-one attention if you can make the appointment.
Yes.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas to you, Julie.